Angel and Heidi ho, everyone. How are we doing? Are we ready for a thumping Thursday in the theatre of trading buddies? Thoughtfulness. That was the word I was going to use. The theatre of thoughtfulness. Why not? Sounds reasonable to me. We'll put plenty of thought into what's going to happen in the next hour and 15 minutes, I can assure you, and hopefully we'll come up with something that's meaningful to you, if not profitable right off the bat. Let's wait and see, shall we? Rightio, let's happy thumping Thursday to you too, Paul. Let's see what's going on around the place. Now we are still in pound breakout mode, which is okay, I guess. We've got two orders going north, or two trades going north. I've got to work out where the take profit levels are now. One thing I would say, I'm not going back into this range again. We've tried 3 times to break out of here. This is the third. Well, actually, yeah, it's the third. And if this fails, guess what happens next? 3 little Indians, right? 1 little, 2 little, 3 little. 3 little Indians means we're going to break to the downside. So therefore, stops are going to entry on both orders. Can we trade the breakout today before we do that? Well, really, no, because we've already broken out of the highs of the whole week. And for that reason, that will be a no trade or no, what's the word for it? No breakout trade for today, but we will manage the 2 that we're already in, the 2 longs that we're already in. And as I said, moving stops to entry on both. Just updating YouTube here, so I'm over that. And then I'll be back with you. There we go. Right, so no breakout trade, but stops to entry on both. I can't do that. That one is going to be that one, you would suspect. So we'll say the entry there is 136.45. So we'll move stops to entry, which is 136.45 on that one, if it'll let me. Now you're talking. 136.45. Have I got the right one? I do. Amazing. The other one is at 136.36 or thereabouts. I think that's pretty close. 136.36. Okay. It doesn't seem to have worked. I don't know where it's gone. Well, it's either there or above entry. Maybe they're both in the same place. No, they shouldn't be. Should be there. Don't know. We shall see. Okay, that's enough time spent on that. Let's look at the take profit areas. Pretty sure that was, there they are, both there. 137.34 for the second one, which was this one, and 137.61 for the first one, if we're fortunate enough to get there. We won't be losing on them. That's one thing we do know, because our stops are at entry. Now, what's happened thus far today? I want to come back to pound Aussie, because we were in pound Aussie, if you'll recall, trading that bar on Monday, and we got the nice sell, but we didn't get a follow through, and for that reason I moved my stops into positive territory at 47 pips, I think it was, which was just a little bit too tight, and the trailing stop was hit. Obviously, we got 2 lots of profit out of that, but that's not what we were after. What we were after was something much, much bigger than that. It's entirely possible, of course, that price bounces here and goes to that trade line, which is kind of what I had in my mind when I saw it didn't follow through. But I am keen to get back into this. And the daily chart yesterday provided us with this seller bar. Well, not a seller bar for some. It is for me. And it has come off that level there, which was very, very close, as I said, to where I had my stop, which I think was about there. I didn't take it because of the employment figures coming out on the Aussie dollar or in Australia. But I've since had a look at that candle and thought, that's the kind of thing I want to trade. So I will be trading that. But is there a better entry? Should I trade this bar here, which was the 4-hour candle after the announcement, which seemed to rally in favor of the pound and then came back off, closed on its low? If that was a daily bar, you know I'd be jumping on it, right? So I do want to trade this, but it's a matter of how. I think what I'll do is I'll trade 0.25% on the 4-hour chart, which will get me in and out fairly quick, or out of my first take profit anyway. So if I get in there and get out there for TP1, that level would be 184.80. Pardon me for squinting. 184.80, and my entry on the daily would be at 184.67. So I kind of like that. It gives me 2 shots. So let's go with that. We will trade the 4-hour bar, and we'll put our entry underneath the current bar, which will be at 1.8492. So I'll put this on here so I don't have to monitor it. But 0.25%, as I said, and we will add to this with the daily if possible. 2.5, and it is a slingshot. Entry level 1.84, forgot 1.8492. Stop loss, we'll just go above the bar at 1.8529 plus 3-ish. So let's go with 1.8533. It's going to give me a bad reward to risk, I think. 1.8533, which is what, 841 pips. So I'd need, let's say, 14 pips of first take profit. Have I got it? Man, 13.9, are you kidding me? Okay, we'll take it. TP1 will be, what did I say? 13.9. So let's go with 14 pips, 1.8478. 1.8478. And we will remove half at that point and move our stops 14 pips from entry, which will give us a free trade. Okay, disable TP2, and there we go. Righto, so that one's in the market. Now we can go with the daily. Now, for some reason, this hasn't been letting me do 2 trades on the one currency pair. Let me see if I can. don't know if anyone else is having this problem. It is a problem. It's a pain in the bum, as a matter of fact. Strategies. Oh, it's letting me do it. There you go. Wasn't letting me do it yesterday. So we can go this one another 0.25%. And again, slingshot. Again, we don't want break of bar. We want break of what we do, but we want to do it our way, not the default way. 1.8469 is the entry. And the stop loss above the bar by a few pips, 1.8563. Why did I do that? Silly. 1.8563. Now I have to get rid of all the zeros. So that's what happens when I go to the bank, get rid of all the zeros that were in there. TP1. G'day, QM. G'day, Gary. Change magic. Yeah. Well, I had been changing magic number, Gary, but it wouldn't let me do it for some weird reason. Today it is. And I haven't changed the magic number. You're right. Thank you. But it hadn't let me go that far. It's just been weird. And I don't know why. Half off at, it's got to be the bottom of that bar, sadly, because we haven't got a lot of room. 1.8440. 8441 will make that. 1.8441. And same old, half off. Move stops. What do we got? 4,128 pips. That might not be enough for my rules. I don't want to fudge it, but let's see. I'll work that out in a tick. TP2 disable, sell. Okie dokie. So what's our risk? 94, and I've gone 28. Son of a gun. That's only 84. Can I stretch that out a little bit to make it possible? Could tighten up my stop, I suppose, which is above DR1. I can't bring it down 10 pips, I don't think. Bugger. I'm going to break my rules. How big's that candle? 8558, 8470. So it's 78 plus change, 79 pips. If I went to the nth degree and didn't allow myself any space, I could do it. Okay. Okay, I'm up for that. So 85.59 becomes the stop loss. And entry becomes 84.70. 84.70. So get rid of that. Delete. Go again. Strategy slingshot. Change the magic number. Go break of nothing. 84.70. And 1.8559. So 89 pips. And TP1, get rid of that. TP1 is now same place. Pardon me, I've got a cough. I will mute myself whilst I do that to save your eardrum. There we go. And take profit was the low of that bar, 1.8440. Now, if that doesn't work, I'm not going to take the trade. How many we got this time? We've got 84.70 to 84.40, 30 pips. We've stretched that out a bit, which gives us 90 to play with. And we've actually got 30.71. All good. 30 pips will be TP1. Whoa, that didn't take long. Righto, happy days. So we've got one on the 4 hour and we've got one on the daily. And it looks like the 4 hour has been triggered already. Yes, it has. So right on entry there on the 4 hour, and the daily, of course, will wait for price to fall. Okay, there are a few things that I'm looking at, in particular the Aussie pairs, but that was the one that we've been hunting all week. We did get in it. We got 2 take profits at the end of the day, but our trailing stop was hit. So we're back in now, and hopefully we can make a little bit more out of it. Howdy, Ash.
Hey, buddy. How are you?
I'm okay. Looking forward to a nice wine after the show.
Yeah, weekend starts at the end of the show, which is quite nice.
Mm-hmm. How about you? What's happening?
I'm okay, mate. Do you know what? I got not much of a headline, but I think I've been stitched up by the broker.
Oh.
So obviously, you know, everybody knows I don't use leverage, and when I woke up yesterday, they had 10x the amount that I normally put in my box. So I have a set amount in my box, and when I wake up, it was 10 times more, but I didn't check it. So I kind of you know, I got into a trade as I normally would, and it would have been all right if the trade had gone in my favour.
Okay.
But, you know, and it wasn't until a few hours later when I was looking at it, and I was like, okay, that's all right. I'll deal with that later. And then I thought, oh, hold on a minute, that's much more than than I normally have. And I've checked it, and it is, you know, it was 10 to, you know, they've managed to get me into a trade which is 10 times my normal risk, and now I'm just having to manage. It's just you know, not only have I got the kind of the headache of managing a hedge, but now I've got to manage a hedge which is 10 times the amount of where I am normally at. So,
which of course you would have closed instantly if you were in profit.
If I was in profit, yeah, absolutely, yeah. If I was in profit, it would have been great, but it hasn't worked out quite like that.
So you've tried to contact them, no doubt.
No. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, you think that's a good idea? I suppose it is, really, isn't it? I do you know, I hadn't even thought of that.
Too late after the trade is closed. If you contact them now, at least you've got a leg to stand on.
Yeah. Do you know what? I might do that, mate. Yeah. I
do that.
thought about that. I'll do it after the show. You know, to be honest, I'm hedged out at the minute, so it's no major panic. And actually, it's not too bad as things go. And I mean, I could explain the maths to it, but it's quite interesting because the hedge is sort of has gone up, you know, quite a lot. I can actually reduce the position by quite a lot by closing off the hedge and just reducing the amount that's in the trade that's going wrong, with a profit. You know, with the profit I've got from the hedge. So it's you know, it's not as bad as it, you know, I think it would be if this is the first time I ever did this. But fortunately, I kind of know how this stuff works. It's not gonna cause me too many problems, I don't think. But it's still, you know, I still feel a bit cheated.
Indeed. I mean, that can have disastrous consequences.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. And you know what? And I think it would have done in the past, because I think that, you know, if this had happened before, I'd be panicking by now. But actually, it's not a major panic. You know, I think I can. I think I can straighten it out. And I suppose that's one of the things about not using leverage. I mean, now I am 10 times leverage, which is not what I want. But I think most people probably go way beyond that anyway. So it doesn't seem as bad probably for a lot of people. But yeah, not the ideal scenario, mate, to have to go into the day with. But
no.
But the FTSE took off. You know, we had a major move in the markets. Now, Agnes was in yesterday, and I don't know whether she managed to stay in it, but there was a lovely trade on gold, and I was calling for gold yesterday. and saying that, if the CPI data came out in a certain way, there's every chance that gold could explode to the upside. And subsequently, that did happen. So as far as I was aware, it was only Agnes that was long gold, and I said to her to try and get her stops at break even. And that what I would do, I didn't say to her, this is what you should do. I said what I would do is, if when it touches the upper line, which I can sort of share my screen.
Did you get in yourself?
I did, and I then got stopped out, and then I didn't manage to get back in front of the charts when the opportunity was there, and there was one opportunity, and it was a bit of a hairy one by the looks of things, but as I say, I wasn't here for the trade, so I've ignored it. But I'm glad, I'm hoping, as I say, that Agnes has got in. And she is managing to kind of stay with this one, because it just looks great. I mean, where's my thing here? It looks really good. Now, no, we don't know where gold's going, of course. We don't know if it's kind of going to that 10,000 mark or not. Same as silver. Silver had a decent pump, but what I started looking at yesterday, before this pump happened, was the fact that the head and shoulders pattern that looked like it was broken may not have been the head and shoulders pattern after all. I wonder whether it's all of this. And if we count the bars here of this one, it grows across the middle to 8. And then if you go from this point, it goes to here and it gets us to 8. And that's the day before it took off. So things were looking really good. That started to look like the head and shoulders pattern. I haven't drawn this second one that well, but let's do it properly and do it on the bars, which is there. And when you look at that, it does now start to look really equal. Now, the other thing with this was, as time was going on, what we were seeing was there was a little level here that did get a false break here, but then went through, and it did kind of come back. Probably the line could have been tightened up. There's a few potential areas this trend line could be drawn, but it did start to look like it was holding. And then yesterday was the big one. I mean, yesterday was brilliant, because what we saw yesterday was it managing to motor to the upside, just before. I mean, this looked like a motor anyway. Started to motor to the upside. CPI came out. It tanked, adding liquidity, probably taking a few people out down here, but the structure ultimately held here. It probably took a few stops out, and then it's just gone. It's a lovely move. I still think there might be another opportunity. Now, what I was saying yesterday was what I'd like to do if I'd managed to get into this is, and I just accepted that I'm going to need to see a break at this level now, is to see whether it would come up here, then get stops at break even, and then see if there's any follow through, and see if it can actually go through that particular point. Which it might, it might do eventually, and if it does, I think the opportunity will have to be taken then, rather than worrying about this potential missed opportunity, because ultimately
it's crystal clear. Crystal clear on the weekly chart. Double bottom, higher low. Done. Yeah,
this weekly chart here. Yeah. Well, what we're down here you're talking about? Yeah, double bottom, high low. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think it's pretty clear on the dailies as well. When you look at it, there's a low down there, there's a higher low there, and it just needed to break these levels, and now it has. I think gold is starting to look really attractive. Bond yields started to reduce, and I suppose I was wondering about this sort of dynamic, thinking about the bond yields, and it kind of makes sense, because if we kind of consider that. That if the Fed are going to be taking out supply if the Fed are taking out supply by reducing their bond purchases, then people may be sort of like starting to think, well, with the Fed taking out demand, if the Fed aren't sort of adding that extra demand, then that probably won't push those bond prices too much higher. So it might be that there could be just a little bit of weakening in that yield price. So and that's really what has managed to push the price of gold up. We've been seeing this correlation where bond yields have been moving to the upside, and gold just wasn't able to catch a bid. But now we did see a little bit of easing off from that yesterday as that CPI data came out, and the Fed effectively said, you know what, we're going to be starting tapering in November, December. Then the bond yield did come off a little bit, and we've seen, as I say, gold really start to motor to the upside. So you know, big moves across the board there, mate. Really, equities have done really well. We've also seen the S&P, which I think has probably got a little bit further to travel before it's in danger zone. S&P also started to take off. We've got earnings season starting. I think Citigroup and Bank of America maybe, but definitely some of the banks are reporting later on. So S&P to this level looks like it is on now to me. So any dips in the S&P, I think intraday probably are going to get snapped up. And I think with probably the same with the FTSE as well. I think, you know, the FTSE's got a little bit of a target to the upside here. And at this point, then that's the point I'll remove the hedge. Until then, I'm leaving this hedge exactly where it is. I mean, it looks okay at the minute. There's also a gap here, which might need to be filled. And if the gap gets filled, then we might well see again, you know, some higher prices with equity. So maybe a little bit of a drift down to this point here, and I think that there could be some buying coming in. The market looks pretty strong today. It looks like it's got that target to that upper level as well. So I'm pretty bullish on the FTSE, and you know, I've got the hedge on now, so you know, all this is kind of equaled out. So what I'll probably do next is just try and buy some more and see if we can get up to this price, and then I will potentially remove the hedge there, and then take it down and see if I can just get the pips I need just to close the whole position up. But yeah, bit of a headache going on right now, mate. But things look pretty positive right now. I think looking at the data points today, what we've got and what we've had is maybe going to put the FTSE in a bit of a kind of a quiet period for around about an hour and a half, possibly. What we've got, what we've had so far is we've had CPIs and PPIs from China. This one's showing a little bit of deflation, but this one definitely inflationary here. The PPI year on year, 10.7% from 9.5%. PPI from Switzerland, though, quite a big dip. You know, it's kind of suggesting that, and it's interesting. I was reading about Japan yesterday, and interesting the way that Japan and America approached the labor market in completely different ways. So where America's labor market is near the kind of 5% mark, unemployment rates at 5% or something, Japan's only at 2.5%. And, you know, you kind of think with the pandemic, there'd be a problem right across the board. But the way they handle it differently was quite telling, because the United States just laid people off, but Japan reduced people's hours, and that different approach kind of gave the labour market a completely different feel, and that had a knock-on effect, because in the United States, when the demand came back, the labour force wasn't there anymore to meet that demand, so it meant that we get these supply bottlenecks going on. Whereas in Japan, they just increased people's hours again. So they were able to deal with those supply issues. And it means that inflation data from Japan is nowhere near as hot as it is in the United States. And when you get this dynamic going on, it makes sense why something like the Japanese yen becomes weaker, where the dollar becomes stronger, because they need to deal with inflation with monetary policy, whereas Japan don't need to react in quite the same way. So it's much more balanced. Which again is probably one of the reasons that we see the Japanese yen as a bit of a safe haven, because it does have a more balanced approach rather than, you know, kind of
it's socialistic, really, isn't it?
Yeah, very much so, mate. Yeah, very much so. And actually, it seems like a much I don't know about but fairer or not fairer, but it seems a much more humanistic, if you like.
Well, it certainly does. Absolutely.
So yeah, so you know, just interesting how we're seeing these things change, and we've got unemployment claims from United States later, so a little bit more in the labour market. Bostic out later. I wonder whether this MPC Tenreiro speaking is going to be one of the reasons that we've got the FTSE 100 on a little bit of a kind of stable footing without really going anywhere so far today. And then tomorrow, I think retail sales are going to be quite important, because really we get another look, and the University of Michigan consumer sentiment, both consumer numbers. So we get another look to see how's the consumer feeling about the economy. And if the consumer's feeling pretty buoyant, then it might be that the Fed has got less than it kind of needs to do. You know, it's kind of got the tools from these guys to help them out, you know, with the monetary policy stance. So a few things going on. I think that might well curb some of the enthusiasm from yesterday. I don't think we're going to get huge moves in equities, but I think if those equities can push a little bit more, might be a little bit of a taking profit opportunity, which I'm hoping to happen. Hasn't happened right now, so we're a little bit in no man's land for me. I can't really do too much this morning, but it looks pretty bullish. I'm looking at the signals here, and the FTSE's looking pretty good. Yesterday it was looking a bit tenuous, but today it looks pretty good. So I think we do see those upper prices hit. If not today, probably tomorrow. If not tomorrow, sometime in the next week or so.
Yeah, dollar's coming off pretty strong as well, so that's going to help your gold's going to help your equities, I would imagine.
Yeah. Which is this is the thing. You see, we had both equities and gold pushing at the same time. Yeah, and this was the other thing, you see, that I was noticing, is that I drew this primary trend line. This is the analysis that I was doing yesterday, which kind of said to me gold is a good trade. Is that we got this primary trend line on the dollar index. I don't know if we discussed this on Monday. I think we did. That we've broken. You know, we've broken down, and we're at that retest point. So it kind of makes sense to see some weakness in the dollar. Now, also the COT data, very negative on the dollar. And as I say, that doesn't mean that we are going really low, but it does kind of suggest that somewhere around about the 93.20 level is probably on. And when you consider we're at 93.87 right now, that does account for what is a what would that be? I guess it's about a 5% move, isn't it? 5% move, sorry, 0.5% move. 0.5% move to this point. So I think the dollar could just stretch down a little bit to there, and then we'll see what gives after that.
What was your level there, mate? Sorry.
I've got 93.20. It's around about 93.23, but that's only because that's the last breakout on the monthly.
Yeah, I'm a little bit above there. I'm about 93.45.
93.45. Okay.
Yeah, it's in there somewhere.
Yeah, I get that too. I get that one because that's the high. I mean, it looks like the level. There's a few levels here actually, aren't there? So to picking the right one's going to be a little bit tricky. But I think by all intents and purposes, we're probably both seeing a little bit of weakness continuing with the dollar. And as I say, that gold push to the upside with equities. It's not out of the woods yet. I think that's the thing with gold, and this is why you missed that first pump. You're better off waiting, because this is right on resistance here, right on top of resistance, and it needs it probably does need gold. Sorry, it probably does need the dollar to weaken pretty significantly to really see us go through that point. Obviously, the other protection product, Bitcoin, another massive move to the upside. Almost
protection product. I like that.
Well, I mean, the supposed, you know, I don't call it that myself, but it's supposedly a protection product. Almost double in price since the lows in It has doubled in price since June, to right back up to near the 60,000 mark. So 6 months down the line, and this is doubled again. So it's it halved in price and it's doubled in price, and that's not even accounting for what happened previous to that. So it's going as mad as it ever did, mate. Just as crazy as it ever was, and as schizophrenic. I think from it's doubled in price, it's halved in price, and now we've doubled in price, all in the space of a year. So if you'd managed to catch these, then you'd be doing pretty well, you know. If
sold at the top and bought at the bottom, you've been doing real well.
Yeah, I think if you get a step forward in the future, you don't need to know what the winning horse is. Just know the levels on Bitcoin, and you'd probably be close to having a pretty nice holiday by now. I don't know. Well, in fact, you'd probably mortgage your house on it if you'd managed to step into the future. So you'd be done by now, mate. But yeah, a double, a halving, and a double. What happens next? Who knows?
Oh, yeah, good question. Although we are supposed to be in the summer of the cryptocurrency, are we not?
Yeah, absolutely. And I suppose if we rely on some of the analysis done by some very intelligent guys out there, then we may well see the 83.3 level. It's very difficult though, isn't it, with this, because that's what's been said and that's what's been sort of talked about. It almost makes you start to doubt it.
Yeah, look, all I can do is go by what the experts say, and I consider Shukri to be a complete expert. Yeah. He told us on this show, when I said to him, look, here's what we need to do. You need to tell me how to do this. And of course, he's bashing his head against a brick wall trying to do that. But he set me up and said, you've got to buy Kusama.
Yeah.
Now, Kusama just went ridiculous. Not 100 times or anything like that. But when the Kusama, are they called crowd loans or something like that? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
You do something with the money that you make from Kusama and put it somewhere else. That's all I know.
Yeah.
And that then became ridiculous in terms of earning, because Moon River, I think it was, went nuts.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I didn't know what I was doing. Then he said only a couple of months ago, you got to buy Polkadot. So I bought Polkadot.
Yeah.
And Polkadot's going nuts at the moment, and there's crowd loans coming up. There's crowd loans coming up for that. So why on earth would I bother learning? I just listen to what he says.
Yeah, exactly. Well, he did say the other day that he was taking some profit on his positions.
I did hear him say that.
Yeah. So I don't know what.
I tried to buy something today, and I just couldn't work it out.
Yeah, not sure what he's thinking about where we're headed to, but I don't know. He seems to be a little.
Well, he said he's taking 2022 off after February, didn't he?
Okay.
For 2 years.
2 years, nice.
He said he's taking 2 years off.
Nice.
Now I don't know whether he's still saying that, but of course he sacked us.
He did. Yes, he did.
He did. He got a better offer.
Yeah, he did. Well, he's been promoted, hasn't he? So no major surprise.
Watch this space. It all started here, buddy.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Should we start the quiz, mate, or have you got more to get through?
Look, I haven't done anything yet, so I better just very, very quickly run through what is yet to come and what has been thus far.
Okay.
It won't take long. First thing was, holy shivers, what have I got there? Oh, wrong chart, sorry. Okay.
We're not seeing your chart, mate.
No, I know, which is a good thing, because I had something completely different.
I think you didn't want to
share. So the week started with this. Let me get rid of that. The week started with weekly game changer bars, and there was one only, and it was Euro Yen. And of course, it was a game changer bar to the high side. And we were smart enough not to get into this because we thought that there was a resistance level ahead and we get a pullback after we broke through it and we'd be able to enter the trade. What pullback? There is no pullback. So that just took off like a skyrocket. And if you manage to jump in there at the weekly bar, then happy days. You're well beyond 1-to-1 at this point. And no signs of slowing down, I've got to say. The next lot of, my watch list was these 4 contenders. First one was Pound Aussie. And that 4-hour trade looks pretty shitty at the moment, I've got to say. The daily pivot might help us there. And we got into the short on the daily chart, mind you. We got into the short and we took profit and we trailed our stop, which gave us some more profit, but our stop got hit. And now we're trying to get back into this 4-hour chart and daily chart. That was the trade of the week. Dollar Swissy was next, and we're looking to trade this short. And of course, history will record that once again, there has been no pullback, no way to get into that trade. Had we looked at the weekly chart and decided that there was a trade, and I've got no idea why you would, apart from the fact that we're at resistance, we needed to see a breakdown and a pullback. Again, no pullback. And sometimes Mummy used to tell me there'd be days like this. And that's exactly where we sit with that one as well, Dollar Swissy. Third one on my watch list was Euro CAD. And again, looking for a pullback on Euro CAD. We're trying to get that, so I haven't written Euro CAD off. Of course, we are short Euro CAD and have been since January 14th. How can I forget that date? We're closing in on Christmas. And our stops, I can't remember where the stops are at the moment, but I'll work that out in a minute. It's not on this chart, obviously. You're looking for a pullback on Euro CAD. Any pullback that gives me a break or a false break of resistance will do. And that's what I'm looking for. So if I get up to here, even to the weekly pivot and false break the weekly pivot or false break the trade line, then that's exactly what I'm looking for. And the last of them was Aussie Swiss, which we were looking to trade long, targeting the top of this range. And once again, didn't get into the trade, no pullback or nothing that was certainly timely enough for me to get into. Maybe you could have traded that bar there on Tuesday. No, that's last Friday. Couldn't have traded that one. You might have been able to trade that one. It's not for me because it's got a big green body, but that's pretty much classic textbook stuff, isn't it? Pull back to the daily pivot, enter there, and away you go. And it went to target. So had you followed all of those things blindly and just entered the market, you'd been having a bloody good week, I would have thought, versus only a couple of trades from me. I guess the pound breakouts, they're going fairly well. Pound is looking fairly strong against the dollar. There's no question. We're still a fair way to our take profit levels, though, but we'll keep our eye on those. We've had a few opportunities throughout the week that haven't triggered, but pretty much that is the week to date. What I'm looking for today was Aussie CAD and Kiwi CAD. I don't have either of those up there, so let's have a look at them.
Yeah, WTI is pushing pretty hot, isn't it, mate? Where is that today?
Totally. Yeah,
looks like 81, about $7 away from your 88 level.
Yeah, well, it needs to get there and bounce off it for these to probably depend. But we have a very clear double bottom sitting here on the daily chart on Aussie CAD. This was, of course, subject to news, and it looks very much like the news has done SFA, and price is just in the middle of nowhere at the moment. I am looking for a higher low. Perhaps that's it. But it being a big green bodied candle doesn't really do much for me. So I'd really like to see price get back level, maybe even the weekly pivot again. Give us a rejection bar that looks like that, but a red body, and then we can look to trade that long, but certainly not yet. And of course, its cousin, or its or even its brother, I suppose, Kiwi CAD, is pretty much in exactly the same boat. Bottom of, well, it's got a base, I'll put it that way. Big double bottom, looking for a bounce off the weekly pivot back to the daily, give me a rejection bar that's got a red body rather, and then I've got a double bottom, and then I can trade it long. That is pretty much where I'm at, mate. There's very little else going on. Euro dollar on the 30-minute chart is untradeable because it's shot through. That's in the NLNS category for me at this point. In case you're wondering what that means, that's no long, no short. You could just say no NT, couldn't you? No trade. But that's pretty much where we are at the moment. If I were to see maybe a pullback and a higher low, I would consider a long, but you've got to go to the bigger picture. And this is looking extremely bearish because we've broken the neckline. We haven't really come back to retest it. And that's probably what I'm waiting for here. And that's why I can see a long short term back to the monthly pivot. So that's probably the way I want to go. But at this point in time, it's very, very difficult just to go, okay, let's head north. I don't have any candle pattern that suggests that that's possible, nor do I have a situation when we're at DR1 and an untested daily pivot below us where I can say, yes, let's go. What I do like, however, is that very scenario. And if I got a double top or a bearish engulfing bar here, followed by a lower high, then I would look to trade it to the daily pivot, and that would be my target. But at this point, I'm waiting for a short at some stage. I don't know where that's coming from, I've got to say, until we get to that monthly pivot area, which is a long way from now. It's also the breakout below this level. I think that's a classic. If you can, it's also the retest of that trade line. So there's a lot going on in that area. If we get back to what is the level, say around 116.80 or thereabouts, I'll be looking for shorts from that point. Looks like potential M top way down to here if possible. 107, that'd be interesting. Can the dollar go that high? I don't think so. Maybe against something else.
Yeah, what do you think about the dollar now, mate?
What do I think about it? I think it's ranging. Yeah. And I think, like I said at the beginning of the week, I see this caught in a range and I don't see it going anywhere anytime soon. It's above this trade line. There's the support, the resistance level that both of us recognize, and there's the support level that both of us recognize. So I don't think we're moving anywhere. I think we're caught in here between 93.50 and 94.50 at the end of the day. So it makes sense to me to actually range trade. We've got a double top. We're about to put in a double bottom, perhaps. Maybe we can just stay in here for a while. That's what I see anyway.
Yeah.
And that's me.
Cool.
QM. Calling QM. There he is. Hello, mate.
Hey, how's it going?
Oh, look, no cause for complaint. It's Thursday. It's piss and pick handles here in Tassie, I would say. Oh, that means rain, for those of you who don't know. It's raining heavily. The Aussie vernacular. What have we got today,
nice
mate?
Vernacular it is too.
We're trying to find where... that there. Yeah, it's like Zoom's hiding everything.
It does that.
Yeah, it's all good. Right, is everybody...
Okay, who am I sending my answers to today?
I think everybody's on for a winner today. I think everybody should be able to get some of this stuff.
Okay.
I think we'll be okay. Okay, here's question one, which might be a bit. Which waste pile might weigh more than the Great Wall of China?
Oh,
I wasn't surprised that it's a waste product, and apparently, obviously I'm not quite sure how they weighed the Great Wall of China. They must have worked out in some way. But there's
there's how many bricks times extra?
So they worked something out like that. But there's a waste product. I was amazed really. I mean, at it. Carbon. Oh no.
Well, I'm tempted to say somebody's, but I better not do that.
Well, I'll put it this way: everybody right at this minute who's on the show is definitely using it.
Okay.
Everybody is using a form of it at the minute. Everybody. Yes, Paul P has come in with the correct number so far.
Well, that'll do. If he's correct, I'm wrong.
He's
got nothing.
Yeah, waste electronics.
Waste electronics. Okay, it doesn't surprise you though, does it? Really?
No, it doesn't. It annoys me because I did environmental science when I was at school as a young man, so I really it doesn't sit well with me. Yeah, 57 million tons of electronic waste they estimate.
Is that what exists now in the world, or is that annual?
That's what they think exists at the minute. 57 million tons of electronic waste.
We've got no brains, have we? We really have no brains.
I have to say, Jeff, I do agree with you on that one. It's astounding. It's stunning.
Dumb as dog excrement. That's what we are.
It's just anyway. But there's bound to be some money in it somewhere to actually get hold of it.
Hey, it's a massive industry, waste industry, massive.
Which country just took top spot in Bitcoin mining? It's not China. It's not China anymore.
Then I would have to go
Bitcoin.
Oh. Yeah,
I think I might know this.
Yeah, we got one answer indefinitely there. No, Swede's got it as well. 2 answers. Thailand. I would have gone with Thailand as well, but it's not. It's not.
Oh,
sorry. It's not. Yeah, if they can't get you with their navy, they'll get you with that.
USA.
Yeah. Oh, Japan. No.
just thought I'd throw it out.
You had time to copy someone's answer there, Jeff.
Yeah, I don't do that. Mostly they're wrong.
I used to do that at school. When if somebody's copying my maths homework, I purposely put the wrong answer in, and just before I handed mine in, I'd rub it out and put the right answer in to stop people copying.
Very clever.
There was a word I was going to use, then it wasn't very pleasant, but I was definitely one of them if I caught people copying my work. Well, I mean, the rest of the day could be a disaster for me, but who became the oldest person to go?
We know this one.
Yes.
Didn't we have this last week?
We did, but he actually's done it. He did it.
He's done it, yeah.
I've seen the video.
Okay. He was a bit emotional, wasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, imagine that. You played this iconic role in science fiction.
Yeah, perfect.
For virtually all of your life, and then all of a sudden you actually go and get to do it.
Obviously, Bezos has got some brains, otherwise he wouldn't have that much money. Yeah. But that's a really good move, I thought.
Oh, yeah. What do you mean for marketing?
Oh, marketing.
Yeah, totally.
It is. It is. Clever marketing move. Prince William's come out and said they should stop worrying about going into space and try and save our own planet rather than trying to find somewhere else to live, which I think he's got a point.
Hey, he's doing all right for 92, isn't he?
Yeah. He's doing all right for 92, and I don't know, is Prince William struggling?
No. I think Prince William is effectively saying, we got all these big brains and they're sort of, more concerned about finding somewhere else to destroy rather than trying to fix what we got here. Yeah. Which, as I say, I think he's got a point. I don't know where it comes from, but
playing with the apes, where it comes
from. Comment.
I was going to use this with some of my online teaching students. Just to say, you can't complain at Amazon being a success if Jeff Bezos can do this. It doesn't matter what you think of him. For marketing, you can see why Amazon is such a success if he can do something like this. This is the bane of my life, but there we go. Which English football team has just joined the money will buy you success in sport? Definitely Ash has got that one.
I got that too.
Yes, Jeff's got that as well.
Just believe that.
Is that a global story? Is it?
Well, what I don't like,
Yeah, I heard
the
that.
amount of money that they're allowed to spend. They're allowed to spend more money than the other sides now.
Gary, where on the Central Coast are you, mate?
Actually, the guy before, he's squashed down the amount of debt that they had and was spending, and now they can spend a load more money on their team. It's like the other way around. I mean, if we're spending, my apologies if I offend anybody, but this is just like, why are we spending so much money on kicking a bag of air around?
Well, it was there's so many arguments around sport at the moment. I don't know how you guys got on anywhere around the world, but we had a situation here at Berkeley Vale. I know Berkeley Vale. We used to do presentations there for Learn to Trade at Berkeley Vale, Gary, as a matter of fact. That's going way back. What was I talking about? Oh, yeah. We had sporting contests whilst in lockdown all around. Well, they've been going from state to state as lockdown changes. And you've got people that live on the New South Wales, Queensland border and a little bit beyond either side who actually can't go to work or to school because there's a lockdown, there's a barrier, right, in the Queensland, New South Wales border. They won't let them through. Yet, all the footballers can fly over the barrier and play football in Queensland. And for the grand final, they allowed their families to do the same.
Yeah.
So can you imagine if you can't go to work, you can't go to school, you can't visit your dying father or your dying mother because of a barrier between you who lives there and one who lives there, like 10 Ks apart. Yet all of these families of these sporting people can come in and attend a grand final. It's really bad.
It moves a bit like that. Oh, the reason I put it in is I'll put my other hat on. I'm going to see if there's Newcastle shares to be had.
Oh, you're going to buy some? Because
Newcastle as an area of football, I mean, Manchester United area is nuts, but it's nowhere. I don't think it's anything compared to Newcastle.
No, I agree with that, mate.
Newcastle will just lift off. So if there's a point where I can grab some shares. Because the people who bought this club, there was some other options on the table. Whoever bought it has been really smart.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's. I think right away, really from ever since Kevin Keegan was there, it became quite a magical club, didn't it? At that particular point, it was something quite amazing. Whether they can repeat that or not, I think is going to be the big question.
Well, but it'd be interesting to see money-wise whether on shares. That's why it's in there. I thought I've
got a soft spot for Newcastle. I have to say, it's a special
shares,
club.
I'll try that one. I quite like. There's which company is about to have some issues with its new phone.
Okay, let me toss a coin.
Yeah, it's going to affect. This is it. It's going to affect their kachinga.
Oh,
I should have said Apple. Technically, I'm wrong.
It's a chip shortage. It's coming, and the reason I've thrown it in is I was explaining what supply to people. I was sort of saying. Because that was it. They were anti-military. I'm going, okay, well, fair enough. You can be anti-military. And they said, well, why do you have to keep an army like that? I said, well, if you get rid of an army completely and then you want to go use one, you've got to put everything back together to put it into the field. So you have to keep it actually working. You've got, it's going to be paid. It's going to have all its weapons. It's going to have all its trucks and everything all of the supply has got to work. Now, if you stop everything, it still works, but when we've done the pandemic, everything has stopped and nothing is working yet. The supply pipe is not working. So when Ash said about the way that they've not cut the labour force in Japan, because I've got a lot of friends that live in Hokkaido in the north, they didn't lose their jobs. They just scale back on their hours and their salary. But
I like that.
Everything is still in place, ready to move forward. So it was just
versus the capitalist system, which puts so many people out of work. How do they pay their mortgages? How do they feed themselves? How do they?
Yeah, a bit much.
And we haven't come out of that yet, by the way. I mean, there'll be so many people in credit problems, I would imagine, that we're yet to see the worst economically, I believe.
I think it's still around the corner. This one caught my eye. This one was a classic. If everybody knows what the FDA are, I do. The guys that give the stamp and approval, they've just said yes to some something that I would thought they wouldn't have done, but they have. Yeah, they've said yes to what? This is to do with you definitely find it in pubs. The people with their pint, no booster. Well, I think there is a bit of a booster in this one. They have said yes.
No, I can't get it. I was going to say oral contraceptive.
I know what this is. Isn't this?
As a musician, I find it. I thought, oh, that's interesting.
Maybe I'm. No, actually, I think I'm
bang, wrong. Yeah, bang, smoke it. They've said yes to vapes.
Oh wow!
They said it, and one of the increase the inflation rate. They've said that actually it might be better than the costs of people being ill.
Interesting. What does that mean then? So this isn't going to make you ill?
Well, I couldn't. They're sort of saying that they'll allow this because it makes you less ill than cancer. Allegedly, from cigarettes.
Than cigarettes, I see. Yeah.
I mean, makes sense. The bottom line is the only thing that counts, not humans. That's what they're saying, as they normally do.
Yeah.
This is a bit cryptic. Sorry, it can be a little bit gloom and doom this week. It's one of those days in KL today. Which portfolio is growing for rich countries, whether you like it or not? We'll call rich countries developed, and you've got you've got some means, but this is a very cryptic one. But it definitely accelerated in the pandemic, and nobody had it didn't matter whether you're rich in the rich country or you're poor in the rich country. Defense, no.
Portfolio.
Yeah.
Rich countries like it or not.
It's definitely. It's I'm surprised that this portfolio. Yeah, you.
What was it?
He's trying not to tell us.
I'm sorry, I sort of said at the beginning, everybody get the questions, and I'm looking at it now and giving it. Oh yeah, look at that. I'm impressed. Yes, wine. I wish it was.
Well, it is.
Bang.
Here in Australia, it is.
Yeah, carbon emissions have gone. Gone up.
Because why?
Should
be less travel.
Should be. Yeah, I mean, I suppose is it comparing it to 2020, or is it comparing it to the?
It's comparing it to what we were. We were sort of going down like this.
Yeah.
Bang! Yeah. Everybody's back in lockdown. I just maybe is using the bits and pieces more. But
yeah.
Just surprised.
I've still got 3.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. But yeah.
Oh.
Ooh.
Well, yeah. Yeah. I was going to be contentious with this one as well, but it might. Yes. Yeah, Ash is correct. Yes. This is me being contentious. I've always thought that maybe the UK wanted to leave, not because of the group, but that one country.
Well, I don't know, so I can't put it.
Did they choose an existing track, or was it a new track?
Which one did they pick?
Was it one that was already in existence, or was it that?
Ah, now I know.
Good stuff, mate. Is it Beethoven?
Yes.
Oh, I am so impressed, Jeff. Yeah. the man comes out batting at number 5, and we need a quick 50, and he smashed it, and we're all back in the bar.
Once I hear Ode to Joy, I know where it comes from.
Yeah. So I did explain to somebody. I said, just because everybody joined the European Union, the Germans weren't going to let go of their mark and everything else. That's what they picked. I'm not quite sure why. Was Ode to Joy written? I think Beethoven wrote the symphony for the. I think it was something to do with getting rid of. Oh, did he write it for Napoleon being a good guy? I think he did. I'm not sure.
I don't know. I don't know the history of that one, but
yeah. Sorry, I had to cram everything in. I couldn't think of it much today. We've got we're doing the water supply on, water supply off in KL today.
Oh no, I enjoyed this quiz more than most. I think I could answer some of the questions. I liked it.
How many questions were there, John?
I always there are always 8 questions.
I got a pass. I got 4.
Yeah, well done, mate. Well done.
Oh, hang on. I could have got 5 if I'd put Germany, but I didn't.
We got it between us. We'll share that one.
Yeah, we'll share. 1 each.
Thank you, John.
Yeah,
that's really good. FTSE continues to push to the upside. I don't really have too much going on here. I've got I've got a bit of management that I'm going to be doing in a minute. But aside from that, I don't really have too much more. Anything for you to close up the week, Jeff?
Not really, mate. Everything's just about gone. Pound Aussie, we've entered that. That's just a little bit in drawdown at the moment. We've got 2 orders on that. Pound was hurtling towards our take profit levels earlier, but it's kind of slowed down a bit.
Yeah, there's news out
and I
in
expect
half an hour. That might make a difference.
But we have got our stops at entry, so that will be a non-loser at worst.
That's good.
Potentially a good winner. Aussie Swiss, yeah. Look, you need to stay out of that for a bit. I think it's a little bit tricky. I want to go long, but it's got to come back to the 68 handle before I do that. I've mentioned all of these before, so there's really nothing new. Euro dollar, I'm waiting to get short, but it's a long to get short, and that long, I'm not sure. It's got about 20 pips to go, and then I'll be looking for a reversal and a lower high short to the daily pivot. I think that's a good trade today if it'll set up, but it may not. We will see. But no, that's about it.
Okay. Anything from you, John? Anything you wanted to touch on?
Yeah, I'm all good. Nice course at the weekend.
Oh, good, mate. Oh, you enjoy it? Have you started trading it?
I did it before a little bit, but it's nice to sort of see that I did do it in preparation on some demo trades. I wish I'd taken them in the end because they were correct in the actual looking at the price action. But
brilliant.
Yeah, it's keeping me out of trouble.
Oh, brilliant, mate. I mean, this is the thing. So what strategy are you trading at the minute, like mainly, or are you trading a few?
In the morning, I get up at 6. I have a quick look at the news and things, see what's going on, and then I look at the wave rider. If I can't see a wave rider, I still have Paul Hutton's guidance, and then I try and pick what I think he might do, and if I don't agree with it, if I don't like it, I won't take it. And then I look at Lloyd's currency strength meter.
Oh, brilliant.
See what's going on there, and then I get my cup of coffee, and then on the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, the man himself comes on with the news and gives me my currencies. Jeff, it's going in all the right directions. And I use the engulfing bars and high test, low test.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
I've got this order now, and this is the way I view it. And everybody's got their thing. Is that I'm an inexperienced trader, and the step is like this bit here, and I can understand that. And then it's the wave riders above it, and it's too nuanced for me. And the wave rider, in my opinion, this is just me, it's been very difficult since the start of the pandemic. Because I can remember the first few trades we were taking, and I'm not saying they were easy, but you could sort of see. And then above the wave rider is you two guys. So and the way that you trade, I'm still learning. So I'm still here, and I'm learning my way up. But that's what I've been doing for the last 2 months. I've organised my right. Okay, this is where you are. That's where you want to be. You've got to learn to get up there, and you need to learn this, not the everybody wants to make money, else we wouldn't be doing it. And that got in the way.
Yeah.
And I think, okay, concentrate on this. So that's my order.
That's a great lesson. That is a great statement you just made. That gets in the way. You're trying to make money, that gets in the way. It so does. Because it's in your head, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, last month it wasn't great, but I made 2% profit. Now I had to analyze why I made it.
That's good, mate.
And I thought, I will probably give some of it back to the market this month, no doubt. But it's because
bad attitude.
My apologies, Jeff. But I got a lot more things ordered in what was going on.
That's good.
I don't know if I'm still sharing the screen.
You are.
I will put something on the screen.
That's good, mate. So the key message is that there's some progress.
Yeah, there we go. That's what my wife drew.
Oh, that was your picture.
That's what my wife drew for me.
Oh, that's brilliant.
That's what I came up with. But it's based on things that you two have been doing. And I thought, there we are. So I have to look at that before I do anything, or when it's going a little bit not wrong. I try to explain it to them. Once I put that trade in the market, I decide to put it in. I press the button. Nobody else does. And once it's in, I've got no control over it. So like last night, I had some trades on. I went for a beer. They're in the market.
Only one?
Huh?
Only one?
I had 2 glasses of wine with it as well.
Excellent. Excellent.
But the point of doing that was, as me staying and nursing trades is not going to get anywhere.
No,
it's not going to change anything.
No, absolutely. I mean, it's
Mate,
you say.
There's an NFT in that.
Oh, and this, I got a few of them, but it's just that.
You got a few NFTs.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, no, I see what you mean, Jeff. There is an NFT in that. You're absolutely right.
Totally.
In like that, yeah. It's just they're on my wall in front of me. Is the same.
It's great. It's great. And we do need these reminders. I think sometimes just to kind of get our heads straight. And eventually it does filter through. But you're absolutely right, mate. The market isn't going anywhere. It will always be here, and it's just how we choose to interact with it, isn't it? Is the game, and that's the challenge.
It's difficult because obviously I can get to talk to you, and I'm very lucky to do that. My aim is to actually be doing this in the future. So if I got to learn it, it's taken me a long time to learn to be a musician. So why wouldn't it take this amount of time to be a good trader? And also, I think, I could be wrong, that the time of this pandemic is a tricky time to trade. So if I can get through this, then I will be better off going forward.
Do you know, mate, it's an interesting thing you said. I think it is. I think it has been a tricky time to trade. But what I'm noticing anyway, is that because news, data, and headlines are so available, so readily available, I think trading does actually get harder. Because there's always something. Yes, the pandemic was a massive shock, but there's always something. And the problem is that you have these things that that just bombard you constantly. And if we know that we need the news to trade, sometimes it's difficult to filter out what matters and what doesn't matter. So that's some of the other aspect of it. I mean, I think with the pandemic, it was so integral to profits that it was going to affect the market, and that's really what it comes down to. If you see a headline about Kim Jong-un, clapping an army breaking bricks on their head, some people actually would react to that because they get these news outlets need to give us a story, and inevitably most of the stuff is just a red herring. It takes us down completely the wrong path, and it makes us think things that we shouldn't be thinking because they actually don't matter. But if we can continue to focus on what really matters, then even the pandemic does start to become a bit clearer. Things to do with the pandemic do start to become clearer. But as I say, the age that we live in is so instant. The amount of data that we can get our fingers on and our hands to can start making us go, oh, well, that's going on, so I need to react on it. But oftentimes that's where we get run over, because even though you may be right, timing may well be, it could be well off. And
unless, of course, it's major, actually. And well, really, it's been a very quiet few years, hasn't it? Brexit, Trump, trade wars, pandemic, Kim Jong-un, China's trade. Come on.
Yeah,
there's been a bit going on.
Yeah, there has been a lot going on. You're absolutely right. But I suppose my point is, I don't know if it's going to change. I don't know if it really ever does change.
No, it's just the degrees, isn't it? Really, at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I mean, it's how big it is.
It's been particularly extreme. I'd agree with that. But if you think about where we are now, this inflation story is probably not perceived as big, but it is still the thing that we've got to kind of now navigate through.
Well, it's the core, isn't it? It's the core that drives the market.
Yeah.
Interest rates, inflation.
Yeah, absolutely. So what the twists and turns that are happening next might be a bit tricky. But then in saying that, when you look at Japanese data, it's almost the obvious trade right now is yen short. There's a few sort of currencies out there like the yen and the euro that you say, well, actually, if you take what does seem to be driving the market right now, which is inflation, and subsequently central banks' actions, those two are two areas that are unlikely to react first. They're likely to be at the back of the queue. So in that respect, it makes it a little bit simpler to say those two are the ones that, if you're looking for shorts, then you're probably in pretty good shape to look for those two. And on the other side of it, the Aussie probably as a long. But you still got to get your timing right.
At the end of the day, they'll all go to resistance and they'll bounce off it.
Yeah.
And they'll all go to support and they'll bounce off it.
Yeah, that's the other key aspect, isn't it? You got to find those support and resistance points, and if you get good at that, I think you're probably 75% of the way there.
Completely.
Bit by bit. Bit by bit.
Yep. Good stuff.
Yeah. Bit by bit. Yep. Okay, mate. Well, let's close it up. Thanks, John. As always, enjoyed the quiz. Thank you to you, Jeff. Have a great weekend, buddy. And to you, Angel, enjoy your weekend too. Everybody in the room, thanks for coming in and taking part in the week. It's been good to have you. I've got some management to do, so I'm going to go off and start thinking I'm going to do this stuff. But I will get out this trade, no doubt, and it'll all be fine. But everybody else, I hope you're in a better position and you have a nice, relaxing weekend.
Indeed. Thank you, mate. Thank you all. And we will indeed see you next Monday when it hopefully will not be raining here in Tasmania. Have a great weekend.